Hello to all of you dear people around the world. Welcome to episode 38 of the Elixir of Awareness channel. In this episode, we're going to review a book's ideas under the title Late Bloomers by Mr. Rich Karlgaard. As you know, we live in a world where all media, public culture, and even parents emphasize one type of success, and we hear only one story of success all the time. And that story is the early success story. In the modern world, there's a character called a genius, who's achieved many things in a very short period. It means that people should be able to achieve brilliant success in their youth or even adolescence. And this book explains how this common advice to success at the early stage of life prevents many people from being able to leave a valuable narrative of themselves and their achievements. It seems that the spread of this fake message has created a now or never dilemma for them. The modern world advises people to either succeed now or you'll never succeed. And the author of this book helps us to trust ourselves again and hope for ourselves again, so that we can finally take action.
Don't forget to like and click the subscribe button for more weekly updates on mental health and self-development. Thank you.
Too much emphasis solely on the idea of being winner from the beginning devalues the things that actually make us human. For example, the modern world ignores our lifelong talent for improvement. It seems that people only have the talent to be successful up to a certain age, but this isn't the case. Similarly, the modern world also ignores the importance of experience, while the experiences in life gradually fill our backpacks until the day finally comes when we can start the change. And it doesn't matter from what age you start, maybe even from 50 or 60 years old you decide to start your journey. Also, the modern world ignores the need for trial and error and the inherent confusion of us humans. But what's the definition of late bloomers? Mr. Rich Karlgaard explains like this. A late bloomer is a person who fulfills their potential later than expected. They often have talents that aren't visible to others initially. The key word here is expected, and they fulfill their potential frequently in novel and unexpected ways, surprising even those closest to them. But what defines this wrong deadline for people? The answer is society. In fact, the society determines this deadline for people by applying culture and reflecting all kinds of different narratives of success. And Mr. Rich Karlgaard is trying to erase this hypothetical and wrong line so that more people can flourish their talents regardless of their age and situation. But what other damage can this wrong idea do to the society? Mr. Rich Karlgaard talks about a phenomenon called forced genius making and explains how our children, these generations in the nest, fall victim to this wrong thinking about early success. In the modern world, there's an endless list of books on the subject of early success, and our children grow up with this belief that they should reach the success as soon as possible. Books like How to Make Your Child a Prodigy or How to Discover Their Talent at the Age of 10 and books like these. But unfortunately, reading these books and applying their content to our children will cause the next generation of books to be written and published in the future about depression in our children.
Don't forget to like and click the subscribe button for more weekly updates on mental health and self-development. Thank you.
This may sound strange, but today there are articles about the sale of antidepressants to a wide range of children and teenagers. In fact, if we look from a distance, this dominant narrative of success in the modern world and the pressure we put on our children is one of the main reasons for the occurrence of mental and emotional problems in them. Mr. Rich Karlgaard believes that life isn't like a ski race where people should cross obstacles in a certain period. Because in real life, not only the routes aren't common for different people, but even the destinations aren't common. So this definition that a person must achieve a series of goals before the age of 20 or 30 isn't a complete and correct definition. Because when this definition is comprehensive and recommended to all members of the society, it will look like a collective tyranny that will have terrible results. There are many different factors that can change the path of different people to achieve success. For example, factors such as people's own living conditions, economic conditions, social class, and even the conditions of their society can be effective. Contrary to the general idea, success isn't always an individual work that a person decides and believes in themselves and fights and suddenly reaches a position like those Hollywood stories. Because the success depends on thousands of small and large factors outside the person's home. Another influential factor is our childhood wounds. Many of us experience situations in our childhood that's wounded our souls. And recognizing and healing these wounds takes a long time for some. For example, at the age of 20, we may suddenly realize what's happened to us and what damage we've suffered in mental health and self-confidence, while someone else may notice at the age of 40.
Don't forget to like and click the subscribe button for more weekly updates on mental health and self-development. Thank you.
Madness and genius are related to each other. This means that people's madness is often the basis of their genius. For example, sometimes you see that a person has a unique talent, but when you follow the track of that talent, you'll realize that you'll reach a childhood wounds. So until our wounds aren't recognized and healed and channeled in a new direction, that talent may seem like madness or confusion. And it takes time for those wounds to turn into energy. That's why you see some people flourishing in their third, fourth, or even fifth decade of their life, because it has taken some time for them to recognize and heal those wounds. Another factor is the difference in the neural and physical development of the brain in different people. Here, the discussion becomes a bit more scientific, and already we talked about the function of the brain in the Elixir of Awareness channel, episode number 22. We suggest you watch it. We've a cortex behind our forehead called the prefrontal cortex. This part of the brain is responsible for very complex processes. For example, the control of sensory and emotional impulses is the responsibility of this part. This part of the brain is responsible for planning, organizing, problem-solving, logical thinking, controlling reactions, resilience, foresight, and other complex tasks. But the point is that this part takes time to grow. For example, young people have more new perceptions in terms of numbers, but with the completion of the development of this part of the brain, people have a greater ability to understand and apply that information at older ages. That is, maybe in older age, the learning process becomes a little slower, but learning how to use information and experiences in life and think more regularly is the product of the full growth and development of our brain.
Don't forget to like and click the subscribe button for more weekly updates on mental health and self-development. Thank you.
Mr. Rich Karlgaard believes that in today's world, books emphasize too much on the impact of stability on the success. He explains that in popular culture, giving up and changing direction is a sign of weakness of will, if this is a misconception. But in reality, in order for people to find their interest and discover their true talent, they need investigation, time, and trial and error. Dan Ariely, who's a brilliant psychologist, believes that we like to suffer for things that are valuable to us. But the opposite of this sentence is also true. If we suffer for something, it seems valuable to us. For example, we may have followed a wrong academic path for years, but because we worked so hard for it, that inappropriate field of study seems very valuable to us. Besides all this, there are general narratives about the effect of consistency in success which don't allow us to correct the path. We're storytelling animals and we've a storytelling mind, and this storytelling mind tries to make an order out of the inherent chaos and disorder of the world. And this process is definitely based on simplification. And if we take this simplification as a rule, then we've a big misunderstanding about many things, including success. John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, the creator of Lord of the Rings, has a beautiful saying that says, "Not all those who wander are lost." We need a bit of wandering to find ourselves, and because there are humans on this planet who need time to find themselves, they may be late bloomers. Our ultimate question to you is, do you think you flourished and found your talent? Please share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Thank you very much for being with us until the end.